Hi guys. So some of you will already know me. I'm Lindsay and I'm the children and youth worker at St John's Church, the one by Danson Park, which means I plan and run with a fab team of helpers, loads of activities for people in primary and secondary school. But today I get the privilege of talking to you about facing the fear of change. It may surprise some of you to know that I'm actually autistic. And a very common trait of those with autism is not coping with change. Not all autistic people are like this, but most. I really struggle with change, as I see changes like a domino effect, where one change in the morning sets off a series of events where everything changes in some way, big or small, from the first domino falling and hitting the next, and hitting the next, and hitting the next, and it takes me time to get a new temporary routine or plan in place in my mind for the rest of the day. Sometimes change can be bad, but we're going to look at not facing change afraid, but facing it with God, because change can be good and it's actually best when God is guiding us through those changes. We all have fears of something, whether it's fear of heights or darkness, or if you're me, the sea. Yep, as far as I'm concerned, crabs pinch, jellyfish sting, and sharks will eat me. Now, most of you won't have that fear, but the fear of change is something a lot of people struggle with, and particularly during this time of COVID, when we can't even begin to think about what changes are coming, when the changes are coming, and how the changes will affect our lives. We get a lot of comfort from things being the same. I've always lived in this house. I've always been at this school. I've always been good at this thing. Making changes can be scary. Maybe the change you had to go through to do school at home at the beginning of lockdown and then in September returning to school were big enough changes for you. But actually, even returning to school has been different this year with all the safety restrictions in place, and maybe this has brought you struggles and worries. Maybe it's fear of what's coming up in the future. Maybe your family has talked about moving or doing other things. Changing into a new school year or going into secondary school can make us anxious. If you look at your teachers now, yep, have a look around. Each one of them has had to cope with the fear of change, including some of those I've mentioned, like changing year groups and starting secondary school. So do speak to them if you're worried. And I want to encourage you that it's okay to have these fears of change, but it's good to face them. We're going to look at an example from the movie Finding Nemo. In this movie, the dad has a big fear of protecting his son. The dad has got everything in their lives the way he wants it. He's got his routines, he's got certain safe distances set, and he doesn't want any of these things that are working so well to change. Nemo's dad is terrified by any sort of change because anything beyond the safety measures he's been using is scary. And it's the same with us. When things change, it can be really scary. But we need to understand that God is with us. So we are going to look at a quick video of Nemo waking his dad up on his first day of school.
I don't want to go to school. 5 more minutes.
Not you, Dad. Me.
Okay.
Get up,
Huh?
get up.
I'm
Time
up.
for school, time for school, time for school, time for school.
All right, I'm up. It's time for school.
Whoa!
Nemo!
First day of school.
Nemo, don't move. Don't move. You'll never get out of there yourself. I'll do it. All right, where's the brake? You feel a brake? Sometimes you can't tell because fluid is rushing to the area. Now, any rushing fluids? Are you woozy?
No.
How many stripes do I have?
I'm fine.
Answer the stripe question.
3.
No! See, something's wrong with you. I have 1, 2, 3. That's all I have. Oh, you're okay. How's the lucky fin?
Lucky.
Let's see. Are you sure you want to go to school this year? Because there's no problem if you don't. You can wait 5 or 6 years.
Come on, Dad. It's time for school.
Forgot to brush.
Oh.
Do you want this anemone to sting you?
Yes.
Brush.
Okay, I'm done.
Up, you missed a spot.
Where?
There. Right there. And here, and here.
My class has gone. Oh, there you are. Come aboard, explorers. Oh, knowledge exploring is oh so lyrical when you think thoughts that are empirical.
Dad, you can go now.
Well, hello. Who is this?
I'm Nemo.
Well, Nemo, all new explorers must answer a science question.
Okay.
You live in what kind of home?
In an anemone.
Okay, don't hurt yourself. Welcome aboard, explorer.
Just so you know, he's got a little fin. I find if he's having trouble swimming, let him take a break, 10, 15
Dad,
minutes.
it's time for you to go now.
Don't worry, we're gonna stay together as a group. Okay, class, optical orbits up front. And remember, we keep our supraesophageal ganglion to ourselves. That means you, Jimmy.
Oh, man.
Oh, like a
Bye, Nemo.
Bye, Dad.
Bye, son.
To plunder.
Be safe.
Hey, you're doing pretty well for a first-timer.
Well, you can't hold on to him forever, can you?
Yeah, I had a tough time when my oldest went out of the drop-off.
They just gotta grow up. The drop-off? They're going to the drop-off? What are you insane? Why don't we just fry them up now and serve them with chips?
Hey, Marty, calm down.
Don't tell me to be calm.
Okay, you can all see Nemo's dad struggling with the idea of change, with the idea of Nemo going to school for the first time. Without spoiling the film, I can tell you Nemo and his dad change a lot during the film, becoming courageous, and it all happened through facing the fear of change. I'm going to tell you a story from the Bible about a guy called Gideon, whose world didn't just change a little, it was turned upside down, and boy, was he scared of those changes. Let's watch the video.
Slapstick Theater, Gideon's 300 Men. This is Gideon, who was a judge of Israel. In the time when Gideon lived, a group of people called the Midianites were taking over the Israelites' land.
Get out of here!
And the Israelites were starving. So the Israelites asked God for help. God chose Gideon to rescue the Israelites.
Hey, everybody!
And gave him the power to lead an army of Israelites.
Yeah!
One day, Gideon and his army got up early and came close to the Midianite camp. God told Gideon that he had too many warriors with him.
Really?
So God told Gideon to let all the men who were scared go home.
All right, you can go home. Phew.
So 22,000 men went home, and Gideon was left with only 10,000. But God told Gideon that he still had too many men with him.
What, really?
He told Gideon to bring the men down to the water, and that God would give them a test.
Okay.
Gideon did as God asked, and then God said, "Divide the men in 2 groups. In one group, put all those who cup water in their hands and lap it up with their tongues like dogs. In the other group, put those who kneel down and drink with their mouths in the stream." Only 300 men drank from their hands. God told Gideon, "With these 300 men, I will rescue you and give you victory over the Midianites. Send all the others home." So Gideon did as God said.
You can go home.
That night, God told Gideon to get up and go down to the camp to listen to what the Midianites were saying.
Hey, Pura, let's go.
Gideon and his servant Purah went down to the camp and saw the huge army. There were too many men and camels for Gideon to even count.
Whoa, that's a lot of camels.
But Gideon heard a soldier telling another man about a dream he had that showed them that God would give Gideon victory over the Midianites. When Gideon heard this, he worshipped God.
Come on!
Then Gideon and his army of 300 men went down to the Midianite camp. They blew their horns and held torches in their hands. They yelled out, and the Midianite soldiers rushed around in a panic and tried to escape. Then God caused the Midianites to start fighting against each other. Because of God's power, Gideon and his army had victory over the Midianites that day.
So we could see from the video that Gideon was afraid when God changed his life completely and gave him his mission to help the Israelites fight the Midianites. Yet he did not let fear stop him doing what God had told him to do. As soon as he was certain it was God speaking, he went ahead and fought the army of thousands with only 300 men. God gave him the faith to overcome his fear. We can let God do the same for us by telling him our fears. We call this talking to God, praying. So let's pray. Father, thank you for loving us and always being there for us and helping us face our fears, including our fear of change.